Hello everyone. Welcome back to the powerful world of Stoicism. Today we will delve into a very interesting and surprising topic. Why do they come back after you give them space? And trust me, the reasons that will be revealed will surprise you. Have you ever wondered why people who used to despise your presence suddenly crave you as if you were the only thing left in their world? It's strange, isn't it? They used to think you were just a small part of their life, something they could ignore at any time. But then, when you stopped showing up, when you decided to create space and step into your own power, they realized that their life was no longer complete without you. Like a book missing the most important pages, or a movie with the ending cut out. The miracle is not that you suddenly changed or they suddenly became different. Truth is, when you step back, you let them feel life without you. And that's when they start to appreciate the true value of your presence. Imagine this. You used to send them a text every morning, reminding them about little things like a cup of coffee or asking, "How was your day?" You used to be there, listening to their complaints about work, life, family, even the meaningless things that no one wants to hear. But then one day, you stopped. No more texting, no more caring. They started to feel the void in their lives. The silence started to creep in and make them feel lost. In life, sometimes absence is more powerful than presence. They started to feel the emptiness they never knew before. Things they took for granted now feel distant. You were their source of energy, their source of stability, and now they are left to deal with the void. That is when they realize that you are not just an option, you are irreplaceable. And when they come back, it is not because you did something wrong. No, it is because you did something right. You created distance, and your absence made them see your value more clearly. Remember, you don't have to change to please others. You just need to be yourself and know your value. When you stop giving unconditional attention, you give them the opportunity to realize that life without you is no longer easy. So why do they come back after you create distance? Let me explain. The first thing I want to say here is that absence highlights value. When you are always there, they will never realize your true value. Yes, you were there for every moment, every text, every call, every hug, and every time they needed someone to lean on. But what happens when you leave? Suddenly, their life is no longer complete. There is no one to listen to them whine about the little things. There is no one to nod in agreement or tell them, "It's okay, you'll be fine." Your presence was not appreciated before because it was too easy. They were used to you being there, available whenever they needed you. But then one day you decided that enough was enough. You were no longer the one who catered to their needs. You stepped back, and that changed everything. They start to feel the void you leave. First, they may think it is just a temporary silence. But after a while, they realize that the void cannot be filled by anyone else. You are no longer taken for granted. They start to remember the times when they took you for granted. The moments when they didn't listen to you enough, didn't appreciate your presence. And it is when you are no longer around, they truly understand how important you were to their lives. Your absence makes things clearer. Sometimes it is when there is nothing that people begin to appreciate everything. They realize that you were not only the one who provided support and stability in their lives, but you also brought things to them that they never realized when you were there. Imagine this. They go through days without your text, without your laughter, without your calming presence in difficult moments. They feel cold, lonely, and suddenly realize that the only thing missing in their life is you. Your absence has created a value they never knew before. You are no longer an easy part of their life. They are faced with the fact that you are more important than they ever thought. And now, they crave you more than ever. Why? Because your value cannot be replaced. And when you are no longer there to give it unconditionally, they are forced to face the reality that they have lost the most precious thing in their life. The second thing is called loneliness begins to take over. When they still have you by their side, everything is really too easy. You are there, within reach, ready to meet their needs and feelings. They never have to worry about loneliness or feeling empty. But then one day, when you leave, it changes. Suddenly, their world is no longer complete. No more familiar messages, no more unexpected calls or simple inquiries. All the things they used to take for granted suddenly disappear. First, they may not immediately realize this change. They still try to be busy with their own lives, thinking that everything is fine. The truth is not so. You leave a void, and that void grows with each passing day. They may try to fill it with temporary pleasures, watching movies, hanging out with friends, even finding someone else to replace them. But all of that is just a superficial cover. Deep down, they begin to feel the emptiness, feeling of loneliness that cannot be hidden. It's a loneliness that doesn't come all at once. It creeps into their lives silently but strongly. When they don't have you to talk to, when they don't receive the little messages you used to send, they start to miss the little things they never noticed before. They realize that no one else can do it like you did. You weren't just a part of their life. You were the one who brought that warm, familiar feeling. And now that that warmth is gone, their world has become colder. And in that moment, they start to crave you, not because you're an easy replacement, but because you're an indispensable part of their life. Things they used to take for granted now become more desirable than ever. But unfortunately, they only realize this when you're gone. Next, the third thing you have to realize is that you are no longer their puppet. That's right, you have given up your place in this game. Before, you probably unwittingly became their puppet, being pulled by the strings whenever they needed attention, when they needed approval, when they wanted something from you. You were there, meeting their every need, without asking for much in return, because you thought it was the right thing to do. But then, one day, you realized that this was not only unbalanced, was also making you lose yourself. And then you decide to stop. You're no longer running after unreasonable demands, no longer being the one who's always there, ready to meet their every little need. You start to take back control of your life. You're no longer dancing to their tune, and this makes them confused. They thought you'd always be their plan B when they need you, but you're no longer that role. Suddenly, you're no longer the person they can easily control. You've broken the invisible string that bound you to them, and now, they don't know what to do. They realize that no one else can meet their needs the way you used to. Without you, they feel like something is missing, something they used to take for granted. And this makes them nervous. They try to go back, to pull you back into the same position. You're different. You're no longer the person they used to control so easily. You are stronger, more confident, and know your worth. The question is, do you really want to go back to that puppet role? Definitely not. Now let's talk about, you have truly taken back your power. This is the moment you have been waiting for. You know, when you decide to no longer be the person who is always ready, always save in every situation, every meaningless story of theirs, you have entered a completely different state. This is not just creating physical distance, meaning not answering messages immediately, not picking up the phone all the time, but it is also psychological distance. A distance that you have built between your emotions and theirs. Their world, which used to revolve around your care and attention, is now emptier than ever. And you know it. You stop giving. Stopping to take care of yourself is the hardest thing you will ever do. But it is also the most powerful. You have stopped being their energy source. You have stopped playing the serve game and have started taking control. You have taken back your power. Imagine this. They come back to you, looking for things they used to despise, but now, with everything changed, you are the one who decides whether or not to let them back into your life. You are no longer the one seeking validation from them. You have created value for yourself. And that is what makes them feel lost, even confused. Because in truth, they need you more than you need them. You have taken back the power you once gave them. You are no longer serving their bottomless ego. This makes them realize that life without you is not simply uncomfortable, but a lack of love, attention, and most of all, presence of someone who truly respects them. In this moment, you become the master of your own destiny. You are no longer being guided by others, no longer depending on their feedback to validate your worth. You step into the very game you didn't realize you had a right to play. And now, when they realize the difference, they are no longer the one in control. You are the one in power. You are no longer just another person in the relationship. You are now the center, the one who decides your own life. You see, when you stop giving unconditionally, when you stop chasing their emotions, take back the power. And believe me, there is nothing more powerful than knowing you are the source of your own happiness. And number 5 is, they realize they need you more than ever before. They might have gotten used to you being there. You were someone they could count on, from small things like listening to them talk about their bad day, to bigger things like supporting them when they were having a hard time in life. But then, when you step back, they realize that without you, life comes much harder. There is no one to listen to their complaints, no one to help them sort out their worries or their mixed emotions. This moment is not the usual emptiness you leave behind. It is a void that no one can replace, because no one understands them, no one cares for them the way you do. You are an indispensable part of their life, and they don't realize it until you are no longer there. 6. You are not as broken as they think. You know, there is a part of them that truly believes that you will fall apart when they leave. They thought you would lose control, miss them, and wait for them to come back. But what they didn't expect was that not only were you not hurt, you were stronger than ever. You used that distance as an opportunity to grow as a person, find balance, and become more confident in your life. This surprised them. They realized that you were not as dependent on them as they thought. They saw the strength and independence in you, and this made them feel left behind. They were no longer the center of your universe, and this really worried them. Your strength was a testament to the fact that you could live without them, and that you were even living better. Finally, they realized your value when it was too late. Sometimes, people need to lose something to realize its true value. You were there. You did everything you could to make them happy. But they didn't realize it. They took your presence for granted, and they didn't know how precious you really were until you left. When you were gone, they began to understand that their lives were missing a vital piece. That's the moment they look back and realize that they lost something precious. They missed the opportunity to appreciate you when you were there. Now that you're gone, they realize that no one can replace you in their life. And that, my friend, is why they come back. Remember, you're more powerful than you think. If you're going through this phase, if you're wondering if they deserve to come back into your life, remember one thing. You don't have to wait for someone to recognize your worth. Recognize your worth first. You don't need anyone else to validate that you are worthy of love, respect, and attention. You are the master of your own destiny, and you have the power to decide who comes in and out of your life. And if someone comes back after you've created distance, ask yourself, are they really worth it? They took you for granted, and now they want to come back because they realize they can't live without you. But do you want to be that person again? Do you want to continue to be the person they turn to only when they feel lonely and empty? Marcus Aurelius taught that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control how we react to them. This is truer than ever when it comes to relationships. Don't let anyone else determine your worth. You have the power to decide that. Many people think that when someone comes back after distancing themselves, it means they have realized your worth. But in reality, your worth hasn't changed. Your worth doesn't depend on whether they realize it or not. You are always important whether they see it or not. When they come back, it can be an opportunity for you to reevaluate things. They have ignored you before, and now they want to come back. But are they worth it? Have they changed? Or are they just coming back because they feel lonely? Not an easy decision, but remember that you have the power to decide. You don't have to accept them just because they come back. Distance isn't about walking away without looking back. It's about taking back your power, refusing to be someone else's puppet. You don't have to please anyone. You don't have to chase after anyone. When you create space, you give yourself the opportunity to grow, to develop, become a better version of yourself. And if someone comes back after you create space, it's proof that you did the right thing. But the most important thing is, you take back your power. No one can control you anymore. No one can decide what you will or will not do. You are in control of your life, and this is the greatest power you can have. Life is a complicated journey, and relationships are an important part of that journey, but not everyone deserves to be in your life. Ask yourself, are they really worth it? If they come back after you create space, it doesn't mean you have to accept them. Remember that you have the power to decide who comes into your life. You are worth more than you think, and you don't need anyone else to realize that.